I'm Adam Goldstein, co-founder and co-CEO. All right, let's talk about the aircraft. Presenting Maker. Maker was designed to travel 60 miles at the end of its battery life and including reserves, and it travels at 150 miles per hour. At these speeds, we can enable trips that are much faster than ground transportation.
Maker's designed to travel speeds of 150 miles an hour or more. We are designing for nominal missions between 20 and 40 miles, and we designed a long-range battery that was capable of much more than this, so we don't have to fully charge after every trip. If everybody could, just please remember to vote. If you're a current stockholder of ACIC, every vote is really important to us here as we're going into closing. So feel free to go to our website. Every vote does count for us, and we really appreciate if everybody could do that the next week or so. We unveiled the Maker aircraft that you're seeing here in June. The Maker aircraft is going through final assembly, and we'll start ground testing here shortly, and we'll be flying this year. Maker will begin ground tests and then hover flights later this year. We'll then work to expand the flight envelope from hover to full cruise speeds of over 150 miles an hour.
Well, speaking of due diligence, right, you have Moelis & Company, you have a whole slate of bankers. Bring us into the process a little bit here, because if somebody doesn't have that kind of capability, how hard is it to get a deal done?
Well, look, I think it's hard to do good deals. And what we're viewing this as is really an alternative, a parallel to what I consider an old method of going public. The brilliance of what's going on with this new method of SPAC is that in a very short period of time, an entrepreneur has certainty. And I will tell you, high growth companies, entrepreneurs, certainty and knowledge of where your company is going is very valuable, and they're willing to pay for it. And so what we're trying to do, we're really trying to find disruptive companies who are alternative really to IPOs. We don't view it as a special purpose acquisition company. It should be named a special purpose IPO vehicle. And I think we're in a wonderful position to assess. We have 900 people around the world to assess who are the best companies in the world, who are the best partners, do the diligence, introduce them to the best investors in the world. I think I'm very excited about what this might lead to for going forward.
So these are the category leaders that are all pre-revenue. So you can't necessarily drive a Rivian truck off the lot today. The EVTOL companies are just newer, and so the consumers are getting more accustomed to them. And I think there's two things that will happen that will help kind of bridge the gap between these three groups here. And I think the first one is public flight test. I think it's going to be a really big deal when you start to see these vehicles out there flying. And I think that really happens in the next 12 to 24 months. You'll see, you'll see the air show, you'll see these vehicles at air shows, you'll see them flying. Investors will start to come to, see flight test. And ultimately, you can imagine the first time you see one fly around the island of Manhattan, or even just fly over a football game, it's going to be a pretty big deal. You can see Waymo cars, for example, driving around in Palo Alto. Like we do see that on an everyday basis. And so I think that's a really big connector here for the investment community. And I think the second one is certification. one of the vehicles that we're building will weigh around 6,000 pounds versus a Tesla Model X will weigh around 5,500 pounds.
We unveiled the Maker aircraft that you're seeing here in June. The Maker aircraft is going through final assembly and we'll start ground testing here shortly and we'll be flying this year. We couldn't be more excited. In parallel to that, we're designing our piloted 4-passenger aircraft for the FAA. It'll be very similar to Maker in a lot of ways, but be equipped for basically a pilot to control it and a few more seats in the aircraft to accompany more passengers. And that's the aircraft we ultimately will want to bring to market. So we're excited to have Maker here as our kind of technology demonstrator with all the key technologies that we've developed on it, and be flying this year and showing the world what this can do.
Maker was engineered from the ground up for the urban traveler. This means designing a new aircraft that can fit into the fabric of cities.
Yeah, so when we designed Maker, we thought about the urban traveler. How do we give them an experience that they're going to love? So we thought about, maybe they have a backpack, maybe they have a full set of luggage coming back from a weekend excursion, or maybe they just have a coffee. And so we wanted to work the vehicle into their everyday life and really just give them an experience that'll blow them away. So let's say you're coming back from a weekend trip. There's plenty of room here for a full set of luggage. You could push it right in. Plenty of room, no problem. But Brett, why don't we hop inside? But these are performance seats, really unmatched to anything in aviation. And there's plenty of leg room. Brett, how tall are you?
About 6 foot tall.
Brett's about 6'2". He's modest. So if you stretch out, plenty of room, no problem fitting in here. And you could easily fit a bag, maybe even 2 bags. When you sit back, you can see there is a 270-degree wraparound viewing area. We wanted to let you sit back, take it all in, have fun, enjoy the flight, really get to experience that you're flying over everything. There's also a touch screen at the front of the aircraft that will give all the key relevant metrics that we could need. When we designed Maker, we took an automotive approach to noise, vibration, and harshness. We wanted the ride quality to be really smooth, really quiet cabin. You'll also see at the very front of the aircraft, there's actually no flight controls in Maker. And that's because Maker is an autonomous aircraft, even though the aircraft we will bring to market will be piloted. And then ultimately, we think you need a piloted vehicle in order to get through certification. And so, there are groups out there building autonomous-only vehicles, and we don't see a path today to be able to certify with the FAA with an autonomous-only solution.
We built Maker to be a certification testbed and also to advance our key enabling technologies. Today, you're seeing the rollout of Maker. Maker will begin ground tests and then hover flights later this year. We'll then work to expand the flight envelope from hover to full cruise speeds of over 150 miles an hour. For the last year and a half, we've been working closely with the FAA on a certified aircraft, which will be much like Maker, but it'll be piloted and 4 passengers. We will open manufacturing for that aircraft next year, and we will enter operations in 2024.